Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, and I want to welcome you to this show where we share wisdom and wit and wonderful stories to help women navigate career and life changes and challenges. And most importantly, to let you know that you're not alone. Each week, through our conversations, we encourage women to be more confident, resilient, and brave in their career and life choices. And we stream live weekly every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the E360 TV network, which you can find on your favorite streaming platforms like Roku and Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And we go live simultaneously on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well, and you can interact with us there. And if you prefer to listen to your shows, you also can find us on all the podcast channels. So if something inspires you today and you want more, please subscribe to your favorite channel, leave us a comment, and share your favorite episodes so we can create more ripples in the world for women. So, what if I told you that your LinkedIn profile is your digital handshake to the world? So, how do you leverage it and enhance your LinkedIn presence for maximum impact? A lot of my clients ask me that question. And today we're going to dive into the world of LinkedIn optimization with one of my favorite guests, Erica Rooney, a celebrated keynote speaker, executive coach, and the vibrant host of the podcast From Now to Next. With her decade of HR prowess, Erica specializes in catapulting executive women through the glass ceiling with her transformative framework. Erica brings a wealth of knowledge, empowering you to use LinkedIn as a platform and a ladder to your next career milestone. She's going to help us pull the curtain back on why LinkedIn matters, the art of personal branding, content creation, balancing the personal and professional personas, standing out in the crowd, and making strategic connections. So this is a jam-packed episode, and I want you to take notes. So help me welcome Erica Rooney. Thank you so much for joining us, Erica.
Oh, Maria, thank you. That was such a wonderful and beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm thrilled you're back with us to share this part of your expertise, which so many of my clients ask great questions about. And I do my very best. I know some best practices, and I've worked in LinkedIn since it started. So I'm a longtime proponent. But let's kind of get to the basics. Why should we use LinkedIn as a tool to get hired?
Well, you said it perfectly. You said it is the digital handshake. And what I love about LinkedIn is that it has truly morphed over the decade that it has been around. You know, it used to be just who you would connect with at work, but now it has opened up and it's who do you want to connect with at what company? And it is a way to get in and talk to people and engage with people that you might not be geographically located with. You might not be anywhere near them. You might not even have a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon separation from them. But LinkedIn allows you to show up authentically as yourself and to extend yourself to whoever you want to contact and connect with. So you really can control the trajectory of your career just by utilizing LinkedIn alone if you do it in the right way.
You know, I love that. It's like the world is your oyster. That's what came to me as you were saying that. There's really no stopping us, is there, from connecting with people that we aspire to know?
Aspire to know companies you want to work with. I mean, Maria, I will tell you,
Yeah.
2 of my jobs, I actually had them create for me just by reaching out and to connecting with people on LinkedIn. These were jobs that were not even posted. But I saw the company and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so passionate about what they're doing. I want to get in there. And I just started reaching out. I didn't know these people, but I sent a message and I said, I love what you're doing. I would love to learn more. Can we have a coffee chat? And then through the power of network, they said, you know what, we've got to have this person in our company. And so then they created a role for me. And that happened not once, but twice. And so I truly believe in the power of LinkedIn if you put yourself out there and in the right way.
In the right way.
In the right way, yes.
In the right way.
And what I mean by that is I get so many LinkedIn messages a day where people come to me and they tell me, buy my services or hire me or do this for me. And you need to recognize that you need to be there to serve other people and to create these genuine connections. Nobody likes a cold call salesperson. That has never changed and it doesn't work. But when you build this brand, this digital handshake of who you are on LinkedIn and how you can help companies or roles or people, then that engages someone else to say, you know what, that's a person of substance. That's a person that is interesting that I want to get to know. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today, Maria, is my 5x5, which is what I truly believe can set you apart to get others to take a look at that LinkedIn page of yours and say, I want to know that person more.
All right, let's talk about getting to know that person more, right? That requires us to have what's known as a personal brand. So let's talk about that. So why is that important?
You know, what's so interesting is it never really used to be a thing. You know, it just used to be, let me see your resume. And if you have the skills and the qualifications, we'll get you hired. But companies have evolved today and they want to hire a person that is a culture add. They want to hire somebody that they know can do the job from the skills and abilities perspective of it, but they want to hire somebody that they want to enjoy being around. At a minimum, we're working with these people for 40 hours a week, oftentimes putting in more hours. They want to like you. They want to know you. They want to know you outside of that basic resume. So when you build this brand, you are really saying to the world, like, this is me. This is what I stand for. These are my personal values. This is my personal culture that I want to cultivate, that I want to thrive in. And for companies that see the world through the same lens that you do, they love that. They are like, okay, this is a solid hire, because even if they don't have all the skills and abilities, they're going to be such a great culture add. They can learn all that other stuff.
Oh, I love it. I love the way you put that, a culture add. We usually talk about value add.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that term. It just gave me goosies. It is a matter of fitting in and adding to the culture that they are trying to create. And what you said also made me think about. I talk about this with my clients all the time on LinkedIn. It's just what you stand for, who you are, what you believe in, what you care about, what you thrive, what kind of environment you thrive in. When we tell people that, then they won't know otherwise, right? Unless we share that information. And the LinkedIn profile is a perfect place to do that. That's not what you do on a resume.
Right. And I will tell you, Maria, I used to very much be a chameleon and try to blend in and fit the mold that companies wanted me to fit, because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. But that's not the way the world works anymore. People want you for your authentic self, which is an amazing thing. And to be truthful, you don't want to work for a company where your values do not match. That is where you're going to really create that anxiety and depression and just angst. And so this is your opportunity to show up ahead of time and say, this is who I am. This is what I stand for, before even going for interview number one.
It's when we don't show up authentically, when we don't find what I call a soulful fit in terms of your career, then it can become a soul-sucking experience. And that doesn't help anybody.
I love that term, soulful fit. I just wrote it down because I thought that was such a fantastic way to put it. And it's true. We are spending so much of our waking hours with these people with other people, you need to make sure that you can show up as your authentic self, show up as your best self, and not have to worry about being this chameleon that is code switching to fit in somewhere where it's just not a place for you. And so that's what I find so valuable about LinkedIn is companies are also out there now posting a lot more about their values and the type of person that fits in with their company and how they operate, that you too are interviewing that company by checking out how they show up on LinkedIn.
Right. And how they show up in are they walking their talk when you actually get to meet them in person or virtually?
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So this is I talk about this with my clients all the time. The interview process has changed. We used to think that we, the candidate, were being interviewed. And if we were one of their top candidates, we might get an offer. And we never really thought about us interviewing the company, doing our due diligence, doing the research, asking really good questions to dig under whether this is a company, a hiring manager, a team that we want to be in, that we want to work with. So you said it. We spend 1/3 of our waking hours doing this stuff we call work, at least 1/3 of our waking hours. But the impact it has if it's not a soulful fit is tremendous on every other aspect of our lives.
And here's what I love about cultivating and creating this personal brand on LinkedIn. And I've been doing this for years, and I have a very robust brand on LinkedIn. So any company that looks up my profile, they can see what they are going to get. There are no questions. And so I'm already only getting people reaching out to me for companies that are going to be a fit. It's not, we don't have to go through that awkward first date type moment where it's like, do we like each other? I don't know. They already know what I stand for. They already know what I'm passionate about. They already know how I'm going to show up. And so when you start to create that brand, whether you are looking for a job today or not, when you start to create that brand and you show up on LinkedIn authentically you, true to your values, companies can see that. And the ones that are going to be a match with you will reach out to you and the other ones will pass you by. And guess what? You didn't want to be with them anyways.
Right. That's so true. We don't want to be with them anyway. It's right. So this is the weeding out process, right, that happens. And we have a lot of control over that.
It's just like dating, Maria. It is just like dating and marriage. And I hate to just kind of lump it in like that. But if you are truly going to give that much of your time to someone, to a company, you want to make sure that those things align. And you want to show up as who you are. And so building that brand and what you're passionate about on LinkedIn is huge.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. It starts there. It is like it is the first place that a lot of people go if they're looking for someone. It is the second place that people go after you've applied for a position and they've read your cover letter, great resume. They're going to go to your LinkedIn profile before they even consider talking to you. And that's the 1, 2, 3 punch that happens. That gives people who are considering or wanting to fill a position the information they need.
And there's statistics out there that a lot of hiring managers are just so busy, they're not even looking at your actual resume. They go straight to LinkedIn, they pull you up 10 minutes before the interview, and they're looking at that. So they want to look for something that they can connect with. Yes, that resume is important. It highlights a lot of great things that how you can contribute to the next role and what you've accomplished in the past, but they also want to see what you can do in the future. And the way they can predict that is also by seeing how you show up on LinkedIn.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, so let's get down to some brass tacks here, some really practical uh, questions about, I get these all the time. Um, what if I don't know what to post on LinkedIn?
And that's always the first question. It's like, I don't have anything to talk about. What can I even
Right.
post on there? And
Yeah.
a lot of people have this outdated view that LinkedIn is for recruiters to get on there and post their jobs. And yes, that is there. And that is why, though, I created this 5x5 strategy. And it's a lot. It's intended to talk about 5 different things, 5 days of the week. So I just want to preface with, you don't have to start going all in on that. We can take baby steps. We have to crawl before we walk and walk before we run. But out of the 5x5 categories, these are things that you can talk about on LinkedIn that will really highlight who you are as a person, what you offer as a professional, and how you will fit into a company from a culture ad perspective. And the very first thing that you can talk about, it's something we all have. It's the role you're looking for or the role that you are in. So that's going to relate to what you actually do day to day. So are you a project manager? Are you a software developer? Are you in human resources? What about your role can you talk about? So a great example would be, and I'll use HR since that's my background and expertise, but top 5 things every recruiter needs to know. That's a post. And it's the things that you probably take for granted because you do every single day. But that's not the case for everyone out there on LinkedIn. And then the second category that everyone can talk about is your industry. Are you in nonprofit? Are you in tech? Are you in healthcare, e-commerce? Talk about what are the trends that you see going on in your industry. What is popular right now? What do you think is going to happen in the future for healthcare? You don't even have to be right. It's just a perspective. That's the second thing you can post about. The third thing that you can post about is what I call your PP, your passion project. And for me, I am very passionate about gender equity in the workplace and working moms because I have 2 little kids, they're 5 and they're 8, and I sit in the C-suite. So it is a very busy day for me. But I talk about the things that women face in the workforce and how we can combat them and what we can do about them. And that's my passion project. It doesn't directly relate to my role or my industry, but it is something that I can bring to the workforce. So maybe you're passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Maybe you're passionate about parental equity in the workplace or caregiver equity. Maybe you're passionate about Habitat for Humanity and what you volunteer for. People love to see that aspect. And then the fourth thing that you can talk about is your personal life. And this is where people get real heebie-jeebie. They're not quite sure, like, do I post personal? Do I not post too personal? And there is a fine line, and we can really dive into this and talk about this. But for example, if you are a working mom and you are talking about the struggles of being working a mom, or how do I balance being a working mom, or what kind of schedule do I keep as a working mom? Those are all things that highlight who you are as an individual that relate to your profession and your career. And then the fifth one is kind of this catch-all because it is the last one. If you are currently working with a company and you're looking for a way out, you can still highlight what your company is doing because people love to see that you are passionate about companies you work for. You can highlight what your dream company is doing. Maybe you want to work for Nike one day. What are they talking about? What are they doing that's really neat? What have you seen them post on LinkedIn? And you can talk about different things like motivational and educational content. People love to be motivated. I post every single month on the first of the month that November is going to be your month. Will you claim it? December is going to be your month. And that is one of my most popular posts. It has absolutely nothing to do with me as an HR professional. But those are the 5 categories. And if you just pick one of those and post it one day a week, you are going to start accumulating a ton of valuable content that is going to let recruiters and leaders in organizations see you as a thought leader, see you as an individual of substance, and see you as someone that will be that culture ad.
I love that strategy. It's simple. It takes some commitment and it takes a little bit of time and thought. But I think once you get into the routine of it, it will get easier. And the other thing that I would suggest to start with, if you're not feeling as confident about creating this content by yourself, look for content that matters to you. Look for articles that people have written about the subjects you care about, and post those articles as unique posts on your profile, with a link to the article and a comment that you make about what you think about the article.
That is a perfect strategy. And, we're now in the world of ChatGPT and AI.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an incredible resource to help you get the wheels turning on what you can post on LinkedIn. So if you're sitting there and you have no idea what to post about your role, you can go into ChatGPT and say, give me 5 ideas that I should post as a software developer on LinkedIn. And they will give you 5 ideas. Pick one that resonates with you. Expand on that. But what I really encourage people to do is recognize that the very everyday things that we consider so normal because we do them every day is not normal to everybody else. And when you share that on LinkedIn, somebody is seeing that, and it is the very first time that they are seeing that.
Right. Yeah. So I have to caution everyone who's listening to be careful that the imposter syndrome thing doesn't pop up for you. Like that, who's going to care what I think or what I say? Stop it. Just do this and I love your idea. I use ChatGPT every single day myself. It is a time saver. It's an idea generator. It just helps me tremendously do things in much less time. And it's a great tool. It's a great
And what
tool.
I would say too is another really great strategy is find someone that you admire on LinkedIn who is out there creating regular content, and just go to their posts and start rolling through them and scrolling through them, and create a spreadsheet or just a bullet point list of, your top favorite posts that you see, and then make your own spin on it. I say the top 5 things that everyone in HR should know. You could do that post for any role.
Right.
Or the worst experience I ever had as an intern. Anyone who was ever an intern can talk about that from years ago. Or my favorite piece of advice. So there's always these very generic prompts that you can fill in with your true thought leadership.
And that's a perfect example of how you can get engagement from others, right? You can simply ask a question at the end of that post that shares the very best piece of advice you ever got, and ask, what's the best piece of advice you got?
Absolutely.
And ask for people to just engage with your post.
Yes.
And the more that happens, the more that post gets seen. It's just the way the algorithm works on LinkedIn. And this is all about creating your personal brand, your persona, and getting it seen so that you can get hired by your dream company.
Absolutely. And I want to encourage everybody not to be scared by the algorithm, right? The algorithm is like this big, unknown, scary monster that lives out there, that morphs and changes every week. Y'all, we are never going to be able to keep up with
and we can't control it. So forget about it.
Control it. And, virality, like sometimes you may go viral, sometimes you may not. I have been shocked by some of the posts that I've had that have gone viral, and they're posts that I would have never imagined.
Yep.
And then I put a post out there that I just know is going to be so amazing, and it completely flops. But the point is, like you said, with that imposter syndrome, just keep showing up. And that's why I love this 5x5, because if you can just commit, right? And if you want to start small, start with 1 or 2 or 3 a week and grow from there, but commit to doing that and posting about that without worry of the response from the LinkedIn algorithm and just start putting that content out there, because again, you will connect with someone out there and those people will like your content. They will follow your content. And to be honest, you might not even know it right off the bat. I actually just went to a big HR team meeting with all HR subsidiaries in my company. And so many people came up to me and they said, I loved that piece that you put out about gender equality. And I was like, I did not know you saw that. Right. So just trust that it is being seen and that it is out there, and it is creating a digital footprint of your thought leadership, which is worth its weight in gold.
Yep. And, not everybody, a lot of people see, they read, they don't comment, they don't even click a like. They'll just see it, read it, like it, and not say a word. So know that you're touching someone. That's great advice. All right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what I would love to also really encourage people to do is actually create true connections with people on LinkedIn that they aspire to connect with, and do that through serving. So for example, if you know that I am super passionate about gender equality and you want to connect with me, if you find this article on gender equality, send it to me and say, hey, Erica, I saw this. I see everything you're posting and I'm thinking of you. And just send that post. Don't say, hey, do you have a job for me, Erica? That's not how this works, right? You want to forge those relationships and make those connections over time, because I'm going to read that article and I'm going to be like, wow, that person really is paying attention. And then when a job does come up, I already have this relationship created. And then I can just reach out to them and say, hey, Maria, I remember you sent me that article. I was wondering, are you looking for a job? And then you never know what possibilities are out there.
You never know. It's like magic, the way this relationship building, that's why I call it literally a digital handshake. And you don't always know whose hand you're shaking, right? As you do this. So you mentioned a moment ago about that fine line between getting too personal and not personal enough. Can you dig into that for me a little bit?
Let's do it, because a lot of people say, like, I don't want to put my personal life out there. I like to keep personal and work separate. And absolutely, here's the way I look at it. Number one, we all love a comeback story. So your struggles and things that you have had to work through, that resonates with so many people on LinkedIn, because we are all going through it. But if you have a scab, and this is how I put at it, you don't want to pick at a scab. Nobody wants to see that. But if your wound has healed over and you are in a place of growth, that is when you can start sharing about your personal journey. So you don't want to go on there and you don't want to talk about, this company fired me, they let go of me, I have no trust. That's going to create a really bad vibe on LinkedIn that nobody wants to be a part of. And it's not a side of you that you really want to show out there to the world. But what you can do is, when you have healed from that, you can say, I've been let go. Here are the 3 things that I've learned and how you can get through a layoff. And so you take that trauma and that struggle and you turn it into a positive for other people on LinkedIn to say, you know what, if she got through it, I can get through it. And it's a really great way to pull that personal piece in there and show that side of you without creating an environment and an atmosphere that turns people away. I would also say another thing when it comes to that fine line is, it's great to talk about relationships and children and friendships if you can tie it back to the professional somehow. So I've already mentioned here, I'm a working mom. I talk about my kids a lot on LinkedIn. I post their pictures on LinkedIn because that works for me, because I'm very passionate about women who have children feeling like they can be a mom and a C-level leader. But that's how I tie the two together.
And what I love about how you do that is that you have created yourself as a role model, intentionally or not, for others who see you, how you show up, what you talk about, and they say, I want to be like that. I admire Erica for her conviction, for her what she talks about, the things she's passionate about, how she deals with whatever that is. That's one of the things that we can do when we, going back to how you said it in the beginning, when we do it right,
Yes.
right? When we are very conscious and authentic about what we talk about, how we talk about it, and how
When the
we weave
wound
it
is
all
healed.
together.
Yes, when the wound is healed, or however you want to present yourself. But I'll use my own personal story, Maria. I used to feel that I had to lie as a mom and as an individual contributor when I would have to leave work early to go take care of my kids. I did not feel safe saying, hey, I've got a sick kid, I got to go pick him up. It was an area of my life that, I'm not proud that I stayed in that career for a long time, but it's how I felt. And I know that if I felt that way, there are other women out there who do feel that way.
And very often, Erica, it's the environment that caused us to respond that way, right? To feel like it wasn't safe for us.
Absolutely. But I can take that experience now, because now that I'm in this position of power, being a C-level leader, and I can create a work environment where no one on my team feels that way. Ever. And so I am very passionate about sharing my story as an individual contributor that used to lie to her boss about picking up her children. Yeah. Because there are women out there who feel that way right now, but to say you don't have to do that. And that's a very personal story, and it's a very vulnerable story to sit there and say, this is what I used to do. Yeah. I'm a person that prides myself on integrity and honesty, and I was not living in accordance to my values back then, but I felt very stuck. And so now that I'm in this position and I can share that story and what I did to get out of that, and how you can find a company that embraces you, that is a personal story that touches so many people in the professional world that you can put that out there on LinkedIn, and people see you again as that thought leader, as someone who overcomes struggles. So it's very important.
Figures it out.
Yeah, it's very important. And I was reading a really interesting book the other day. It was by Adam Grant. It's his new book called Hidden Potential. And he talks about a young man who had a dream to be an astronaut. And he came from migrant farm working family and put himself through school, had to repeat grades often because English wasn't their first language, and all that he overcame, right? But when he presented his resume to NASA, it didn't stand out very much, Now, what they were saying is there was no opportunity for him to really showcase his resilience, his ability to overcome obstacles, to think outside of the box. When you utilize this 5x5 method and you go about the personal bullet point and you hone in on some of those stories that you maybe think aren't that important, they showcase those skills that companies are looking for that will not show up on a resume.
Yep. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn, because they can show up there.
Absolutely.
By your hand, right? You can make
your hand. Yes. You get to be the author of that story, and you get to choose how that shows up.
Yep. All right. So we talked a little bit about how we can stand out on LinkedIn. What more? Is there anything more that you would recommend to, if we were asking, so how can we stand out on LinkedIn?
I would say, and we touched briefly on this, but be very, very intentional about your connections on LinkedIn, and make a very strong effort to connect with people either at your dream company or in your dream role, to connect with mentors, to be a mentor, and really solidify those relationships through LinkedIn with a virtual coffee. I have created lifelong friendships with people that I have never met in person, but I connected with on LinkedIn, who have helped me climb the corporate ladder, who have helped me land jobs I never thought that I would have, because I was intentional in creating those connections. It's not about going down and, trying to get as many followers as you can. That's not what this is about. This is really where quality trumps quantity. And you want to hone in on those people who are going to add to the quality of your relationships.
So the people we should connect with are the people we aspire to be, mentors, right?
Yeah.
The people, the companies we aspire to work with and for. Yeah. Anybody else?
Recruiters. If we are in transition, always with recruiters. But again, Maria, be intentional. Recruiters and anyone in HR, they are bombarded with resumes every single day. So when you're trying to create those connections, you can follow them and just send them a note when you connect to say, hey, I love that you work for this company. I think they're doing amazing things. And I wanted to connect with you because I wanted to stay in contact and make sure that I'm seeing all the great things that you're putting out. That way it shows interest without just trying to sell yourself. And we go back to that cold selling. Nobody wants it. It's icky. Those messages get deleted. Trust me. I delete them. But
here's the thing though. You're not looking for a job by making, when you are making these, reaching out to make these connections and establishing these relationships. In the back of your mind, you're looking for something new, different, next. But when it's a mindset shift when you're making these connections with companies or people, recruiters included, that you're not asking for a job. You're asking to get connected. You're asking for advice. You're asking for information.
Yes. And I would encourage everybody to get out of this scarcity mindset, because I think that's what pigeonholes so many people is they think that this is the only job I'm ever going to get. I have to go all in, and they just kind of throw it out there. And that's not what it is. If you can take a step back and shift that mindset into one of abundance, into one of, I am searching for something that works with me, that jives with me, that's going to bring me happiness.
Right.
That is when you're going to find the role for you. That is when you're going to find the company for you. And to my point, right when we opened this conversation, I reached out to people just saying, your company is doing amazing things, and I want to be in the know because it's so cool. And it took 6 months. So it is about the long game here.
Yeah.
But it took 6 months. And then all of a sudden they said, we have this job. We want you to apply for it. We created it with you in mind.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love those stories because they prove that the technique, the leveraging the tool that is LinkedIn, that it can be not just a platform. And, a lot of people turn off because it is a social media platform, but it's different than that. It's a professional media platform.
Yes. And there are so many users out there today. Like, that is what just blows my mind. I think they said there were like 3.2 million users on LinkedIn across all of these countries and continents. And we live in a digital age where we can reach across the continent and shake hands with somebody and land a very fulfilling career, or create a connection that helps us land another fulfilling career. And so it's so important that we are embracing all that we can with LinkedIn today, because again, when I think about how much it's already morphed, and it started that you used to only connect with people you knew. Now it's connecting with people you want to know, and people who are doing things that you want to be involved in. And you don't have to jump on a plane and go meet somebody.
Right.
You can search for them on LinkedIn and just stay up to date with everything that they're doing.
Yep. The world gets smaller and smaller every day.
Every day. But in order for you to stand out, you have to be a person of substance. So you have to show that you have these interesting things to say about your role, your industry, and who you are, because otherwise you're just one connection in a sea of 10,000 connections.
Yeah.
But it is not as challenging to make yourself stand out as I think we often make it to be.
And I love what you said about making sure that you you show who you are authentically. And that's why I do the work I do, and why I start with my clients on the you part,
Mhm.
right? Because you got to get really in touch with who that is. Who are you now that things are changing for you? What do you want? And get really, really clear on that. When you are, the things you talk about become really important, insightful. People want to read them. And that's when your 5x5 strategy is really going to take off and be magic for you. I love
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, Maria, too, there are some very tactical strategies that are important when it comes to utilizing LinkedIn,
that.
such as, your URL. A lot of people don't know this, but you can make your own unique URL so
Yep.
that it's very easy to remember. And, we're going to be giving away this 5x5 strategy as a freebie to everybody who's listening. But if you head to my LinkedIn page, I also have a second LinkedIn freebie that is some very tactical things to make your profile stand out from a recruiting standpoint, such as that URL link. And so I want to give people the confidence to just make these few small tweaks. Make your profile stand out, make it easy to find, make it so people hone in on you, and start utilizing the platform then with this 5x5 and this thought leadership.
Yeah. Yeah. And one technical way you can do that is by changing that background banner that is
Yes.
behind your picture and making that you. I love doing that with my clients. That's great. All
Yes.
right. So Erica, tell me your one favorite thing about LinkedIn.
One. Gosh, Maria, you're limiting me here. The one
Yeah,
favorite
I want to know
thing.
your one most favorite thing.
My favorite thing is that I have been able to connect with so many amazing people who have challenged me to think in different ways,
Hmm.
who have bolstered my sense of community, and have really expanded my network with like-minded individuals. And what I will tell
Yeah.
you, Maria, is I am a C-level woman with two very small kids. I'm juggling all the glass balls. I can't drop any of them, right? But where I live with a lot of women who are stay-at-home moms. And that is great. And I need them. I rely on them to sometimes help me balance being a working mom. But when I'm going out, I don't have a lot of people necessarily in my close vicinity to connect with about being a C-level working woman with small children. On LinkedIn, there's hundreds of thousands of them.
Right.
And
Right.
together we create community.
It's a
And that
community. Exactly. Yeah.
has been so rewarding for me as an individual. And I encourage everyone out there to go out there and find their community, because they're out there. They may not be in your neighborhood or at your church or, in your bowling club, but they are out there. And if you go out on LinkedIn and you put yourself out there, you will find them.
I know that's true. I know that's true. I know that's true. All right, we got to wrap this up. As always, Erica, I could talk to you all day. I love talking with you. Thank you so much for being here. But help us wrap this up in a bow.
What I will say is, to your point, the world is smaller than you think, but you have it all in your hands. And if you follow this 5x5 strategy and you put yourself out there as a thought leader, you will start to lay the groundwork to have whatever career, whatever role you could even imagine. So I implore you to dream bigger. Take that goal that you have for yourself now, 3x it, and just go after your dreams, because LinkedIn is a tool that will help you get there.
And just quickly, remind us your 5x5 strategy. So it's 5 days. What are the 5 topics again?
5 days. Post about your role, post about your industry, post about your passion projects, so gender equity, DEIB, post about your personal aspects, right? Your personal life. And then the last one is kind of that catch-all, motivational, educational, maybe what is your dream company? And that's it.
Might be a favorite quote. Might be something like that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that. Erica, thank you so much for being here. I know that people are going to want to reach out to you. So, what's the one best way for them to do that?
Y'all, you already know. Follow me on LinkedIn. Let's do
LinkedIn,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. And the link for Erica is at the bottom of your screen right now. So please connect with her. Look for that freebie on LinkedIn and check out the show notes below because you will see a link to get her 5x5 strategy as well. Erica, again, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, Maria, thank you.
It is my pleasure. And for those of you watching and listening, I appreciate that you're a part of this community. So if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, share it, click a star, and let's make more ripples around the world. As I said at the top of the show, I love creating and sharing resources for women. And as a career and life coach, I work with women to help them navigate challenging times more gracefully. So if something in this episode resonates with you and you'd like a fresh perspective, reach out. Let's talk. You can reach out to Erica, you can reach out to me. The links to connect with us, as I said, are in the show notes below. And then let's meet again here next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time for another inspiring conversation. Because you know what? I believe it's our time to thrive. So let's thrive together. Till next time, I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, helping you turn transition into triumph.